Hello. For today's backyard briefing, we're going to focus on a few of the early spring plants. But before we look at some of the beautiful colors and wildflowers of the spring, I wanted to draw your attention to this plant, which is often overlooked because it's not the most showy or beautiful plant, but it is very important because it creates a lot of the habitat for these other plants to live in. And this is called big sagebrush, and it really is one of the most recognizable plants of the West. It's got a very strong fragrance to it, and that often comes out after a rainstorm. But that fragrance is also what keep it safe, because a lot of animals are deterred by that, and those chemicals inside those leaves will actually make them feel sick. But this grows throughout the West. One of the reasons it's so well adapted to the West is because it does very well in dry, arid climates like we have here in Wyoming. And it has some adaptations that help it survive. One of the things is its leaves itself, which are very, very small. You can hardly see it here, with these 3 lobes on top. These leaves have little hairs on them which help deflect the wind away from the stomates so that the wind or the air doesn't draw water out of the leaves. And the leaves themselves are quite small, so it doesn't lose a lot of the air, or lose a lot of the water. And then finally, it's got a very light green color so that it deflects some of the heat away from this plant or the shrub. The other thing that it has is a long taproot which goes down into the earth and pulls water up from underneath the earth up to the surface, and that helps feed the roots for not only this plant, but it creates a little microenvironment for other plants to live in. This first little wildflower that I want to show you is moss phlox. And it is growing right in the middle of this little area of sagebrush, and that sagebrush is blocking the wind and creating a nice little space for this moss phlox to grow. It's also drawing on some of the water that the sagebrush brings up to the surface of the earth. Moss phlox has this beautiful purple flower that gets bleached white by the sun, and it's one of the first signs of spring as far as the flowers that we see in this area. Another pretty little flower that comes out early in the season is the spring parsley, and you can see a lot of these plants are just low-growing plants. They stay close to the earth, and that protects them from the wind, but it also, in case we have a cold snap, it keeps them a little bit warmer and protected from the frost. This bright little plant is called a sage buttercup, and it is one of the first flowers that you'll see as the snow recedes. We actually had to travel a little higher in elevation yesterday to find this and another symbol of spring, the spring beauties. Enjoy these next few weeks as tons more flowers start emerging, and we will check back again soon. Bye-bye.